What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new to the channel, my name is AkeemHaynes. I'm a two-time Olympic bronze medalist, author, motivational speaker, and sports commentator. On my channel, we talk boxing, MMA, track and field, and of course, motivation and encouraging content. If this is something that you enjoy, then I hope that you subscribe to the channel. Now, let's get into the video. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. I wanted to save my boxing weekend recap for Monday rather than just putting it out on Sunday. I wanted to be able to sit with some of the stuff that we saw this weekend so we could really dive in and discuss what we thought of the fight and what's next. So we're going to recap all of the fights on this one video. Definitely let me know your thoughts and comment in the comment section below as we go through this. So let's start with Liam Paro versus Brock Jarvis. You know, I had Liam Paro winning that fight by decision. I did not think it was going to end the way how it ended. Right. I thought in the fight, just very short, obviously, I thought Brock Jarvis came in aggressive as he usually is. But the defense that he doesn't really have right now, I thought he went in a little bit too overconfident. He got caught and he got clipped. And it was the end of that show. Right. We knew that Liam Paro was a good fighter, but did we know that he had that type of punching power? No, not necessarily. At least I didn't think so. Right. I thought he would have outboxed Brock Jarvis for the majority of that fight, and he would have went on to win that one by decision. But nonetheless, it was a very good shot by Liam Paro and a very good statement performance win. I mean, anytime you can knock out someone who's been knocking out other opponents, right, and you go in and you knock them out, it makes your resume, makes your performance, it makes everything a lot better. So the good thing is with Brock Jarvis is he's still very young, and I don't think a loss right now in his career will necessarily hamper him from progressing and getting other opportunities down the road. He's still a very young talent, still very raw, still got a lot of skill. But Liam Paro now, now you start to think, well, what does he do next, right? Who does he go in the ring with next? And the way how he won that fight makes you think, do I think he's ready for those guys at 140, the top ones in the division? I don't really quite think so. Right? I thought he was just better than Brock Jarvis before he even got into the ring in all aspect of his boxing. I do think this puts him in a category to get more and better fights against tougher competition in that division. But nonetheless, very good performance from Liam Paro. Big statement win. I think Brock Jarvis will bounce back and we will see him definitely down the road. So let's continue moving up. You know what? Let's actually stay over in Australia. Let's go to Devin Haney versus George Kambossos 2. A lot of people didn't want this rematch. A lot of people didn't think this rematch was needed, right? But again, much respect for Devin Haney for honoring that rematch. I did think this fight was better from both men. Even though I said I thought it was going to be a same decision win, the same way how Devin Haney won the first time, I thought it was going to be the same way how he won this time, and it was, right? But I did see George Kambossos be a little bit more aggressive, right? I said in the recap, if he was going to find a way to win, he needed to press the matter early, and he needed to continue putting the pressure and taking more risk. A lot of people talk about Devin Haney doesn't have that punching power, and they're right. He does not have that one-shot knockout punching power, but he does have pop in his hands. I mean, you saw the blood that was gushing down George Kambossos' face. Devin Haney made that 1-2 combination look very, very good. It was very consistent. The reach, the speed, the anticipation, the reflexes. Devin Haney is just a level above George Kambossos, and there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes you meet fighters who are just different, who are just that special, who are just better than you are. It's the sporting world. You always have athletes who just have a little bit more than some of the others. I mean, Devin Haney barely got touched that fight, right? And we didn't know how he was necessarily going to come in. A lot of people were talking about how he was weight draining. By means, I think he was. I think it's a little bit harder for him to make this weight now. The other question is, well, what happens now? Does Devin Haney move up to 140 or does he stay at 135? And it's a tough situation, right? Because at 135, he is the undisputed champion. He has all of the belts. For me, I think he stays at 135 for one more fight. And I think he stays at 135 for one more fight only if it is Vasily Lomachenko. Biting Vasily Lomachenko can beat Jermaine Ortiz. I really think that's the only fight that Devin Haney should stay at 135 for. I don't think he's going to get that Tank fight. I don't think he's going to get that Ryan Garcia fight. Now, Tank and Ryan Garcia are supposedly have signed some contract or in negotiation to sign the contract, but I don't think those guys necessarily want to fight Devin Haney just yet. Not that they are scared or anything like that. I just don't think it'll happen. So I think if Devin Haney stays at 135, it's only for that Lomachenko fight. Biting that Lomachenko wins. But again, dominant performance from Devin Haney. Again, it really goes to show just how good that he is and how he can hit and not get hit and how he makes things a tough night for any single person that he steps in the round with. Again, George Kambossos fought better. I really think he did everything that he could do the second time to win the fight. It just wasn't enough. It just wasn't his night. And I think if they fight 10 times, I think 10 out of 10, Devin Haney wins that fight. I just think Devin Haney is just a level ahead of George Kambossos Jr. There's nothing wrong with that. It just is what it is. But let's keep going. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Let's go over to the women's side. Let's start with Alycia Baumgardner versus Mikaela Mayer. I want to know, what did you think of this fight? It was a very close fight, a very evenly matched fight. However, I thought this fight was won in the early rounds. I thought Alycia Baumgardner from round 1 to 5, I thought she built up a good lead. I thought her speed was showing. I thought the confidence was showing. I thought she found her groove and found her momentum and found her rhythm a lot early in this fight. And I thought the one thing that helped her was the movement. I thought it was the constant movement of not being a sitting duck, not staying in one spot. And I thought that she built up a comfortable lead early in this fight. Now, I did see Mikaela Mayer make some adjustments going into the middle half of that fight, and she fought her way back, right? She started letting her hands go, started finding ways to get her in the center of the ring, started being more confident and precise with her shots and being more accurate with her shots and really just trying to find and getting ways on the inside. Now, a lot of people were saying, man, Mikaela Mayer got robbed and this and that, and I don't think she got robbed. I think sometimes in boxing, because it's a close fight and the person who we want to win didn't exactly win, we think that they got robbed. But I don't think this was the case here. I personally had it Alycia Baumgardner 6-4, right? And I think going back to what I just said, I think from round 1 to 1-5, Alycia Baumgardner built up a comfortable lead. And I thought Mikaela Mayer made the necessary adjustments going into the middle round. And then there were some of those later rounds where it could have went either way, depending on what you were looking for. Right. So for me, I thought Alycia Baumgardner did enough to win the fight. Now, Alycia Baumgardner said she does not want to give that rematch. And I don't see that rematch happening. Definitely not now. Although I do think both of these women would make a lot more money moving forward if they did the rematch right away. Right. Because, again, it's going to come with that controversial aspect of it a little bit, because some people are saying, OK, Alycia Baumgardner won the fight. Some are saying Mikaela Mayer won the fight, and it can go either way. So I think the rematch would be good for the both of them, but will we get it? No, Alycia Baumgardner wants to become undisputed, right? So I see it. Maybe they do meet each other again down the road, but I don't see that immediate rematch happening anytime soon. But for me, I had Alycia Baumgardner winning that fight. But definitely let me know your thoughts. Let's continue moving up to Claressa Shields and Savannah Marshall. I got to admit, I did not expect Savannah Marshall to come out as aggressive as she did. For me in this fight, man, the style of Hughie Fury, right, very similar to Tyson Fury, where it's that herky-jerky type of style, and there's a lot of movement, a lot of feints. Man, it's a very hard style to plan for. But to me, I thought that Savannah Marshall did a lot of wasted movements, right? I think she was trying to prove that she was a better boxer than most people give her credit for. Right. I didn't think that she needed to go in there and try to box. I thought that she needed to go in and impose her size, impose her frame, impose that power that we all know that she has and we all think that she has. I thought she fought in this fight like the smaller fighter. And I thought Claressa Shields was the one who fought like she was the taller fighter, the bigger fighter. She stood front to front with Savannah Marshall. She went at Savannah Marshall. She did not back down from Savannah Marshall. She took the fight to Savannah Marshall. And I don't think Savannah Marshall was expecting that. I don't think she was expecting to be hit as much as she did. I don't think she expected Claressa Shields to be right there. I think that threw her off. It was kind of like the thing, right? Claressa Shields, in a way, she bullied the bully. She went in and she let her hands go. When Savannah Marshall was coming forward and letting her hands go, Claressa Shields let her hands go and moved out the way, and she connected the more eye-catching shots. I thought she connected the bigger shots, right? I thought the only thing in this one was when Claressa Shields just sat on the corner. And when you're sitting on the corner and the judges can't see certain things, it looks like Savannah Marshall has the upper hand. But in the corner, I didn't think that she did too much to Claressa Shields. Even when she was letting her hands go, Claressa Shields was moving out the way and dodging, and her defense was very well sound in this fight, right? I don't think there was any controversy in this one. I think it was a clear winner. I don't think it was a close fight, as some people have been saying. I thought Claressa Shields won that fight 8-2. You can argue 7-3. It was an exciting fight. It was a very good fight. It was a tough test for both of these women, but I don't think it was a close fight where we can say there was any controversy. I thought Claressa Shields clearly and convincingly won that fight, in my opinion. So it'll be interesting to see what happens next. I would like to see a rematch. I thought parts of that fight too, I thought Claressa Shields made Savannah Marshall kind of fold a little bit in that moment. She didn't quite look like this confident Savannah Marshall that we usually get to see. She just looked like she went in, and it was one of those situations where it was like, man, she's a lot better than I thought that she was, and I'm not really getting the clean shots that I usually get, and she didn't quite know how to figure out Claressa Shields. But again, I thought part of that too was Claressa Shields did not back down. It's easy to have the advantage over your opponents when you are imposing your frame and imposing your size, and you are the one being the bigger puncher. But I don't think Savannah Marshall was ready for a fight where Claressa Shields was just as big of a puncher as Savannah Marshall was in that fight. And I also think part of it too, like I wonder how much did that 2-week break really affect Savannah Marshall? I didn't see any ways of Claressa Shields' mood changing or her talk change. She stayed the same. But Savannah Marshall just looked a little bit more quiet and a little less confident in her mannerisms than I saw. I thought if it happened the first time, maybe it would have been a little bit different. But the delay of the fight, I just didn't see that same Savannah Marshall who was confident as much, especially in her mannerisms. But nonetheless, a very good fight. Really goes to show how good Claressa Shields is. Let's go up the card. Let's continue moving up. Right, let's talk about Antonio Russell versus Emmanuel Rodgriguez very quickly. Look, this fight to me, this was the one that I got wrong. I thought Gary Antonio Russell, man, he just did not look like himself. He didn't look sharp. He didn't look fast. He looked like he wasn't there mentally. And maybe it was the fact that, he didn't have his father in his corner this one in the first fight, but he just didn't look there. He didn't look confident. He didn't really look like he had that belief in himself. Emmanuel Rodgriguez found his timing early. He's the one that looked confident. He's the one that looked sharp. He's the one that looked like he was levels ahead of Gary Antonio Russell, and it clearly showed. I know the headbutt ended the fight, but to be honest, I wouldn't have been surprised. Like, I thought that fight was going to stop a couple rounds earlier when Gary Antonio Russell got clipped, because he couldn't even really stand, couldn't even really walk. His legs were wobbling. So I was surprised that fight didn't get stopped. But man, it was a clear level ahead in this one of Emmanuel Rodgriguez. So even if the head clash did stop the fight, I thought he would have won that fight anyway, and maybe even would have seen a stoppage in the next 2 rounds, because it definitely looked like that's the direction of where it was going, man. Once Rodgriguez caught Gary Russell's timing, it was a wrap. Gary Russell didn't have anything for him, and this was a good learning curve. But again, I just thought Rodgriguez was just sharper. He landed the bigger shots. He had his timing down, and he was just all around more prepared and ready for this fight. Let's continue going. Let's move up to Caleb Plant versus Anthony Dirrell. Now, I had Caleb Plant winning this fight by decision. Sure, a lot of us had Caleb Plant winning this fight by decision. Not that we did not know that he had the punching power that he had, but we just felt like, he was going to just outbox Anthony Dirrell throughout the fight. Anthony Dirrell was doing everything that he could to win this fight. But to me, this whole night, man, I thought Caleb Plant boxed beautifully. I thought he was a step ahead of Anthony Dirrell in this fight from start to finish. right? Caleb Plant was coming in, landing the cleaner shots, letting his hands go early. He was coming in with the jab. He was moving around the ring. He was countering well. His anticipation was well. He was letting combinations fire at will whenever he could. And the knockout, when it came, beautiful shot to the body, come up to the head, catch him with the left hand, right flush on the jaw. And it was a wrap from there. This was a statement win from Caleb Plant. You never know how someone is going to respond after a loss. You never know how someone is going to have that confidence and that belief after a loss. But you could see clearly in this one that he did not get worse. He actually got better. The hand speed was looking very explosive. He was looking very good defensively as well, too. Anthony Dirrell really just didn't have an answer for him. Right? Anthony Dirrell landed maybe one or two clean shots, but apart from that, I thought it was a clear one-sided fight, in my opinion. So for Caleb Plant to dominate this fight as he did and to close out the show, I thought it was a very impressive win. And I think this puts him in good standing for a next fight, maybe against a David Benavidez, which I think would be a very good fight. I know people were talking about Charlo as well too, but Caleb Plant, man, he showed that, man, he's the real deal. Like, he's here and he believes that he's one of the best in that division at that weight class. And so for me, Anthony Dirrell, I thought he did all that he could. He had some good moments, but on this night, Caleb Plant was just all around better in every category of this fight. Let's go up to Deontay Wilder versus Robert Helenius. Not too much to really say about this one. It was good to see Deontay Wilder back in the ring. He was moving a lot more than what we're usually accustomed to. And it goes to show, I don't even know how much times he threw a punch or threw a jab. All he needed was to connect one shot. I thought Robert Helenius had a better chin than that. I was expecting Robert Helenius to last a little bit longer. I expected Wilder to win by knockout. That's probably the safe bet for everybody if you're in the betting side of things, is to bet KO by Deontay Wilder. But it just goes to show, man, when you're heavy-handed as Deontay Wilder is, you don't need to throw a lot of shots. You don't need to do a lot. You just need to land one clean flush shot. And that's all that it was in this fight, man. It's good to see Deontay Wilder back inside the ring, as we're accustomed to seeing him knocking people out. The question also is who do we see him in the ring with next? Andy Ruiz, Anthony Joshua? I don't know. It doesn't matter who it is. A Deontay Wilder fight is going to sell, right? Regardless of who is next for him, it is going to be very interesting to see who steps inside the ring with him. And if he's fighting at 214, 215, the thing with Deontay Wilder is a lot of people make talks about the weight, and the weight does matter a little bit, yes. But when you have that dynamite explosiveness and that God-given natural power like Deontay Wilder does, it makes up for any type of weight, because all he needs is one shot, and one shot could end the fight. What were your thoughts on this weekend about all the fights that we talked about? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Who would you like to see each respective opponent fight next? Let me know in the comment section below. If you would like to support the channel, there's a couple ways that you can do so. You can like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you'd like to support the channel by way of donation, you can find options in the description below. Also, you can find my Cash App handle on screen as well. Any amount goes towards the growth of this channel and will be greatly, greatly appreciated. Shout out to Ali Point TV for the donation. Shout out to TJ for the donation as well. It's truly, truly appreciated. And those funds will go towards getting a better microphone so I can continue to get better sounding quality videos for each of you. If you would like to follow me on social media, my social media handle will be on screen as well. So with all that being said, if you've been watching the video this long, then do me a favor and subscribe to the channel, and we'll definitely see you next time.